All right, there we go. So welcome everybody back to the Feminine Space podcast. And today we are on the 8th episode of the Surrendering series. And today we are blessed to have the wonderful guest, Laura Ann Rowsey-Collins. She is a resident in counseling who works and lives in rural southwestern Virginia. She is also a mother, and it's an amazing opportunity to meet her, to hear of her story, everything that she's overcome. I bet many different, stages of life. And it's beautiful because her journey touches on the professional or the career, and also with her home life and with her son and being a mother. So welcome to the podcast. And I hope everybody welcomes you to here.
Thank you. Well, you had mentioned stages of life. So my journey has been pretty much over the last 24 years. When I was, 21 years. When I was 23, I had my son. And I was finishing up my degree at Virginia Tech in biology. I was planning to work for the CDC with epidemiology and emerging diseases. However, my son was born with an immune system that did not function properly. So by the time he was 5, he had had 13 different surgeries. There is no name for what was going on with him. We consulted specialists all over the country. He was tested for everything that people knew about. So basically, you could just say his immune system didn't work right. If he was around more than 4 people, he got sick to the point that it could have killed him. When he was 5, I shut down a cleaning business and went home with him and was homebound with him at my parents' house because the other choice was to plan his funeral. The last surgery did not work very well to clear the infection, and he is allergic to antibiotics. So we had a very long medical journey, and thankfully he is now doing quite well. He's almost 21. But in our journey, we tried to find counselors who would help us be a family instead of a mini medical unit. And unfortunately, we couldn't find ones that were sufficient to our needs, which is where I decided that I would become a counselor. Because if there wasn't one suitable for us, then there wasn't one for other people as well, and I would be that resource. So I had many jobs between my cleaning business and my degree in counseling, from having an in-home daycare at one point in time when he was a little bit more immune stable, to being an insurance agent and doing direct sales with insurance, and then also with Mary Kay, to establishing a Mary Kay business, until I became allergic to that and had to unfortunately give up something that was thriving and doing a very good job. So I became a counselor. When I became a counselor, I found out that kids are wonderful, but I can't work just with them. I have to work with adults too. Kids tire me out. They take a lot of energy. But working with adults, I find to be absolutely energizing. So now I live 2 hours away from where I used to, and I work with adults and children all the way up to geriatric populations, with everything from just time management issues to severe psychosis. And it is really neat. My son is doing well. He's worked at a farm for a couple years, and now he's looking at some other possibilities. He hopes to hike the Appalachian Trail. And about 4 years ago, I found out I have severe allergies, the type that are airborne. So I react to corn or wheat or grains that are in the air, and I become anaphylactic. I can't breathe. My throat swells closed, my face swells up. So my life has really changed. One of the things I've also learned to specialize in some here is dealing with chronic illness. Last year, I met a man and married him and agreed to be the mom to his daughter. So I now have a stepdaughter and a husband and a son and 4 dogs. And we're all doing very well, but there have been so many challenges. Some we have met with grace, and some we have struggled with and railed against, but eventually you got no choice. You got to accept them anyway. So that's
And
kind of where the journey's been.
I would say not only did you just face them, you turned it into your work. You met a need that wasn't provided by other people, and you were able to actually take that into your own hands and do something about it. And I don't think that that's something that everyone is open to doing. It sounds like, for many people, if they come across something that they don't prefer to have or wish to live, some people just decide to complain or to resist it or to fight it. But it sounds like not only did you surrender to the reality of what is, there must be a sort of openness within you to actually face and accept what was happening at the time, and then to actually take action. So tell me a bit of that process. I mean, because emotionally it must have been very difficult, must have been something that was really close to your heart, yet you were able to take the action, take those steps forward, and actually make it into something, like into your career or into, a big change in your life. So how were you able to do that?
Part of it is I'm stubborn. I refuse to give up. But part of it is also the awareness that when you're trying to block a change and you're putting your hands in front of you and you're forcing that change away, you're spending so much energy. It's much better to kind of just push it aside a little bit and allow it to go past you so that you can move on, to find the place where you can be the rock in the stream. The stream goes around you, doesn't change you, but it also doesn't invalidate your integrity. It's still part of the experience. You can let it go. And sometimes you need to do that. And part of that process is grieving the loss, the possibilities of what could have been. Sometimes that's a tremendous grief. But like all grief, it's something you can move through.
You bring a really good point, because some people are so attached to how they feel things should go, and they're so attached to that, so clouded by that, that is all they see, all they wish for. And the path that is before them, what they can actually make out of the situation, it's as if they're blind to that, right? Because they're looking backward, or they're looking in a certain direction that's actually not here. So it sounds like not only were you able to allow yourself to soften, to surrender, to feel the emotions, to grieve, you also opened up your eyes, and a part of you was open to, what can I do? It seems like you were looking for solutions, not just from others, but within yourself.
Yes, and part of it is instead of focusing on the cannots, I choose to focus on the cans. This is what I can do. It may not be what I want to do, but it is what I can do. It's within my capacity. It's within possibility. And once again, everyone has a certain amount of energy. I'm not going to waste mine blocking something that I want to say is a should or a must. Instead, I'm going to spend my energy thriving on what I can do.
I just want to ask you, how does your work feel for you today, or when you are with well, he's much older now, isn't he? I keep thinking, because of the stories that you bring up, I see him almost as a little child, But with the decisions, the courageous decisions that you've made, the actions you've taken, how do you feel about where you're at now, when you go to work or when you show up at home?
When I'm at work, I'm glad to be at work. This is my path. It's where I'm supposed to be. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. and I enjoy getting up to go to work. And when I come home, I'm glad to be home. This is my family. This is a wonderful time. My stepdaughter's wonderful. My husband's wonderful. My dogs are absolutely rotten, spoiled as much as they possibly can be. But it's good. This is the life that I have chosen, and that in some ways has also chosen me. It works.
Yeah.
And there's a peace in that.
That's really beautiful. I really feel you when you say that. And as you describe to me the feeling you have, it just reminds me of, again, of how sometimes we're just dreaming of a certain goal or a certain role we want to take on or be, but it's not about that. It's about the feeling that we're looking for. And sometimes what we actually want, or where our path takes us, eventually might look like a really simple life, or might come in a form that to others might even be, that's it, that's kind of boring, like when are you going parachuting, or like where's the activity and all the motions. But at some point, when you settle into that peace and the peaceful feeling that you're sharing, it really sounds like you found yourself, and you've really settled into that space to allow yourself to be, to express, to give, to receive. And it doesn't have to look so sparkly or have glitter, and be that kind of goal that many people kind of aspire to have, right? That very shiny thing that if I get it, maybe I'll feel this way. Our path is our path, and everyone is different. And yours probably gives you the most joy out of anyone in this world because it's your own.
Yes, and it feels right. I'm not trying to put on someone else's life. I make beaded jewelry, I create my own chapstick, and I cook recipes. I go hiking, I play with my dogs. And then in the morning, I go to work and I'm of service to my community, and I come home and I love my family. It's simple, but it's the right one for me.
I want to ask you a question about softening and surrendering to what's here, because as stubborn as you say you are, there's an element of just allowing, and also you mentioned letting go too. So how does that work? Because for many people that's scary, to allow something in that's right in front of them.
I'm stubborn in that I won't give up. I'm not stubborn in that I won't let go. There's a difference. Giving up means that I feel there's absolutely nothing else I can do. Letting go means I choose not to force my perceptions to try to shape the reality of what's there. So in being stubborn, it's the willingness to persist, to believe that there is a path. But the surrender that you talk about is letting go of my own ideas of what should be, and instead celebrating what is. It's the difference between pushing against something and just kind of diverting a little bit so it flows by.
And again, that image which you mentioned, like being that grounded rock within the stream and allowing it come forward to you, and then also letting what needs to go just to flow past you too. That's really
Yes.
beautiful. And I think that's a really wonderful note to end on too. This idea that life is in every moment giving us the opportunity, or like offering that open hand, like take it. It might not be what you feel really comfortable about, or something that seems logical, but each door I feel is always there open for us to walk through it. And it does take action. Not only does it take a will from our heart, it also requires that next step, that next action. Do you have any last words for the audience? If they are at this stage of life, they're waiting for that something, like, please show me a sign that this is my way, or I can do this, or my fears don't mean anything. What would you say?
I think perhaps the easiest way to describe it is when you fall asleep, you do two things at one time. You let go of being awake and you fall into being asleep. When you're dealing with change in your life, you have to let go of what you believe was meant to be and let yourself fall into what is. So if you can do that and look at it as two separate things that have to happen together, then it gives you the opportunity to have that space to change, to have that space to find what the path is. And there may be some side journeys, between the CDC and counseling. There was insurance, there was Mary Kay, and those worked for a while, but they weren't my lifelong task. This is. But those side journeys gave me experiences that I use now with my clients that benefit them, and that I use now in my family that benefit us. So it's not a wasted time. It's just a short journey, not your lifelong journey.
Exactly. And it's always okay to try. The road may be winding, but that doesn't mean you're further away from, what really sets your heart or soul on fire. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, you just share such a beautiful feeling, and I feel it too. And that's when I really know that, your journey is so aligned with who you are. You've really found yourself. And not only is that a gift to yourself, but to your family, to your clients, to your community. That's just how it works, right? We settle into who we are, and everyone gains so much from that. So thanks again for coming on, and tell the audience how they can reach you, find you or your work.
Well, I work in southwestern Virginia at Chestnut Creek Counseling Center. I have two emails, a email and then my Chestnut Creek email that you said you'd put up on the notes at the end of the blog. And I have a blog address also, Musings by Laura AC, at it's blogspot.com. So musings by Laura AC.blogspot.com. And you can find stuff there and contact me through that as well.
Awesome. So I hope everyone takes the opportunity to keep following Laura, her journey. And as always, you can find all the email, the contact, and also Laura's blog, as mentioned, over at the show notes. So just head over to femininespace.com/Laura, LAURA, and then Ann, ANN. So that's femininespace.com/LAURAANN. And then over there, you'll be able to find all the contact details that Laura just shared. So thank you so much, Laura, for coming on. What a pleasure, what a blessing to have you in this world. And bless your whole family and everything that you've been through. But I know you're so strong today, and you're just exactly where you wish to be. And, the world has given you this place to be too.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all the kind words.
All right. So bye, everybody. And we'll talk to you. Well, I will talk to you, unfortunately, next week. So see you another time. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I pressed the wrong